side. Receive. Okay.
Welcome back. We've just had the coin toss, which Federer won. And instead of choosing to serve or receive, he chose ends, which is most unusual for him.
It is unusual, yes, but it happens. And of course then Nadal has the option of either serving or receiving. And he has chosen to receive, so Federer will get side and serve.
Roger Federer won his first Australian Open singles title in 2004.
32 years of age now. The Swiss, of course, bidding to set up the first ever all-Swiss major final. Just the one tournament won last year. Very strange by his standards. We're so used to him winning multiple titles, but we know he wasn't fully fit for much of last year. And he does seem rejuvenated this year. Incredibly, Federer contesting his 11th straight semi-final in this event. Quite extraordinary. Four times the champion, the runner-up to Nadal in 2009, the only time that Rafa has won this tournament. But trailing by such a big margin in the head-to-head, 22-10, and he hasn't beaten Rafa in a major tournament, one of the four majors since Wimbledon 7 years ago, or 6.5 years ago. Rafael Nadal, the younger man at 27, of course, from the island of Mallorca. In contrast to Federer, who won just one title last year, winning 10, including 2 of the majors, the French Open and the US Open. Already a winner on the tour this year in Doha, at the same time that Federer was losing in the final of Brisbane to Leighton Hewitt. We've heard a lot of opinions during Game 7 Mats Extra. Mats is going for Federer, taking into account the blister. As we look at Federer's route through, untroubled until he dropped that third set against Murray, which he shouldn't have done. He served for the match, then he had match points in the tiebreak. But as Murray stiffened up in the fourth set, he was able to beat Murray from the baseline.
Well, he's certainly shown very impressive form, has Federer. I think the fast courts and the light balls certainly suit him more than they suit Nadal. But I think he needs that extra suitability, as it were, in order to combat Nadal. And I think even though Nadal's got this very, very inhibiting blister on his hand, I still make Nadal the slight favorite.
He too, just the one set lost against Grigor Dimitrov in the quarterfinals. Should have lost to Dimitrov, having 3 set points to claim the third set. One of them in the tiebreak. Well, the point was on his racket. It was on his serve. He set up an easy forehand put away, and he fluffed it. And he was very emotional afterwards, incidentally, Dimitrov. Couldn't hold back the tears in the press conference because he knew he blew a real chance to extend Rafa into 5. Jake Garner from the United States is our umpire for this one. So Fru is just edging towards Nadal, and I confess that I am too, simply on the basis of that record, the head-to-head record. We welcome those of you watching on British Eurosport, Fru McMillan and David Mercer here for this 33rd match between Rafa and Roger for the right to play Stanislav Wawrinka in Sunday evening's final. One thing I'm absolutely certain about, Fru, is the only way that Roger can win this match is the way he played for virtually 3 sets against Murray. What really worried me is that when it came to finishing off that match, and then in the 4th set, he went back to playing Murray from the baseline. And I actually feel that if Andy had been fully fit, fully recovered from the back injury, he might well have turned that match around and won it in 5.
Yes, and of course, if Murray had had more tennis, the match might not have gone the way it went. I think that has to be said. Murray certainly short of match play after his back surgery towards the end of last year. There's no doubt that Federer has got to be aggressive. It's something we used to say about Murray for so long, isn't it? Here we are suddenly saying it about Federer. But it's just given the fact that he has lost as many times as he has to Nadal. I think particularly on the backhand side, he's got to find some flourish rather than just pushing the ball back on the backhand. Because Nadal these days is much more of a killer on the forehand, one of the great shots ever in the game. But he's using it much more destructively, much more earlier in the point. So Federer, I think, has got to learn a bit from perhaps the Stefan Edberg school of coaching by going through with his backhand, trying to hit it harder, get good length with the backhand, and of course trying to win most of his points if possible, if not with the backhand, certainly with the forehand, which for both players is their magic shot.
That incidentally was Severin Luthi, who's been with Roger for many years, assisting with his coaching, and of course is the Swiss Davis Cup captain. He's put a towel over the little mini camp they have by the players' box, as if to say, hang on a minute, you get up a bit too close and personal to us. What's Luthi going to do if it is an all-Swiss final? Stay away, I suppose, or at least watch it from somewhere in the back row of the stands. He can hardly favour one man against t'other. Nice problem to have, though, Fru.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, whilst Federer is dear to so many and loved by so many, including, of course, the tournament directorate here, given his success over the years, I'm sure in many ways they're hoping for a Nadal-Wawrinka final just to introduce some internationalism into the final. Also, there's always the contrast, of course, the lovely contrast of the left-handed Nadal against the right-handed Federer, the left-handed Nadal against the right-handed Wawrinka. The single-handed backhand of Federer is duplicated, of course, on the other half by Wawrinka now, having made the final. Nadal with his two hands, much more the modern game.
I think I'm right in saying, Fru, that if Federer loses this match, he's no longer the Swiss #1.
That's a thought, isn't it?
That'll go to Wawrinka. What's a white towel? He prefers those. A lot of the players do.
Yes, the reasoning behind it is that most of the towels that come out are pretty new, and as we all know, with a new towel, you don't really get the drying procedure quite as well as you do with a towel that is somewhat used. So I believe they're not new white towels. They are, of course, towels that have been used, but laundered and washed and come out here looking very, very Wimbledon white.
Rafa, as always, he's sitting down, he's still pumping those feet a little.
The roof, you've got something interesting to say about the roof for those who weren't here watching the ladies' doubles.
I think they've managed to solve it now, just looking above, but there was a big delay in starting the ladies' doubles because they were opening the roof, having played a mixed doubles under the roof, and one side of the roof wouldn't budge. So the ladies actually played the ladies' doubles with the roof half open or half shut. But anyway, that's why it was delayed. The match started 45 minutes late and went over 2 hours. But the Italians, Arani and Vinci, retained their title. But who will play for the men's singles title on Sunday against Stanislav Wawrinka? Will it be Federer? Will it be Nadal? Federer serving.
15 love.
Federer won the spin of the coin, elected to take this side. Nadal therefore had the choice of serving or receiving, and obviously decided to receive.
Oh. 40 love.
Oof. Landed in. Federer serving and volleying behind the second serve. Made no effort to play this. Perhaps just a hint of a miss-hit by Nadal.
Again, Federer.
But apart from that, a very comfortable service game for Federer to get us underway.
First game.
Yes, a couple of things perhaps. The ball bouncing that much higher, I think, because the balls are lighter. Therefore, Federer's getting a bit more height on his serve, which means Nadal is having to play at roundabout shoulder height. That much more difficult. We saw it particularly on the last point. Also, Federer very early on using the in-to-out forehand, playing away to Nadal's forehand side, which is a tactic used by many a player to try and unsettle Nadal. Some have achieved it in the past, and we saw great success from Dimitrov using it with his powerful forehand.
Rafael, Nadal to serve.
Rafa with 2 towels, one for each ball boy.
He has been warned during the tournament. Nadal, in fact, had to lose the first serve because of actually a third warning. But it generally only takes 2 to lose the first serve.
It's enough.
Well, it's a tactic that Nadal's using so much more successfully. Did so well at the US Open, did so well in Cincinnati, where he beat Federer and, of course, won the tournament, beat Djokovic at the US Open, serving wide and then hitting the big forehand down the line early on in the point.
Love. Again, Nadal.
Just 1 point goes against the serve then in the first 2 games.
1 game on.
And Roger knows when he plays Rafa that his backhand's going to take a pummeling. Will it stand up to the challenge?
Love.
The side he slightly struggles with these days on the forehand wing is when he's pushed wide to his forehand, Roger.
Which really suggests that he's just a little bit slower to get there.
30-15.
Understandable at the age of 32. I mean, he's so remarkably fit. This is incredible record of successive majors proves.
Well, there was the use of the into-out forehand, except that he actually didn't let the ball slide off the racket nearly as much as others do. He hits around it just a little bit, which means he doesn't quite get the width. And of course, if you don't get the width on Nadal's forehand, it tends to be tickets.
Roger's 57th straight major, this.
Incredible record of physical excellence, really. And of course, he is so gracious and glides about, which must really help him. Gracious, graceful.
Game's going with serve so far then.
Federer leads 2-1.
It's 2-1. One-two, Nadal to serve, no breaks in the opening 3 games of this second men's semi-final. Yeah, well reached. You did an extraordinary little half volley there from Federer.
Well, we've seen Federer play so much more aggressively. He seldom, early on in matches against Nadal, would come into the net. And reads the Nadal game here, where Nadal went cross-court earlier on. He goes down the line initially, then tries the cross-court. And Federer's elasticity really getting him there. Fair bit of talent as well.
Was that a deliberate short shot, or was it a slight mishit?
I thought it was a slight mishit.
Love 30.
Might encourage him to play a few more short ones there. Yeah, looking at it again, I would say it's intended. Certainly hit 2 very good backhands. One in the previous game, one there.
Oh, terrific from Rafa, as Roger had got that low volley as deep as he possibly could.
Boy,
15-30.
if this is what we're going to see throughout the match, it's going to be just about the best match ever played between these two. As Federer's playing a much more old-fashioned game here, conditions suiting him, the faster conditions. Nadal is being given more of a target.
Oh, it set up the point, but just came up off that backhand a little.
30 all.
I suppose Federer would have wanted it warmer tonight, to be even faster. It's just 18 degrees Celsius, 64 Fahrenheit when they came out to play. Not much of a wind, it was much windier earlier. Just 11 miles an hour now.
40-30.
Well, if Federer can keep up this standard of backhands, it's going to be some improvement. I think we've seen 3 quite flat backhands.
Well, that is vintage Federer. The twinkle toes to get in position and then the thundering forehand.
Vintage Federer, but not against Nadal, because Nadal just used to serve to his backhand time and time again, and Federer just used to play the backhand, chip it back. And so often people were saying, you've got to be more aggressive, you've got to look to use the forehand more destructively than the backhand.
Advantage Nadal.
And that's one of the problems, trying to be aggressive with a ball that gets up well over shoulder height. So even the great Federer miscalculates at times.
Nadal.
Whipping up a little low drive volley. And Nadal comes through the first test of the match, down love 30.
2 games on.
Well, Federer's been, again, a bit of an eye-opener here against Nadal. So much more positive than in previous matches against the great Spaniard. And Nadal, too, not showing to me any signs of discomfort thus far with the hand, with the blister.
Love.
Has Rafa got that same bandage on? I don't think so.
No, it doesn't look nearly as bandaged as it has been.
So I'm sure they've been working very hard on that hand of his.
40 love.
Just a little bit of artificial skin over it, allowing it to heal rapidly. That's certainly not as bandaged as in his previous matches.
Because it went right over the top of the hand as well. We'd be able to see that.
Again, Federer.
Letting fly. May as well when you're 40 love down. Federer holds his first love game of the match. Nadal to serve, 2-3, opening the set. Close,
15 love.
but wide. But again, Federer's aggressive intent.
Yes, where in the past that would have been chipped. He's playing it with a much flatter racket head.
Well, already oohs and ahs.
30 love.
Fantastic tennis already. We've been going just 19 minutes.
I thought latterly in his match against Dimitrov, his backhand Nadal was working so well. Uncle Tony, his constant companion.
Nadal.
A second love service game for Nadal.
3 games on.
Well, it's such a relief for many of the Nadal fans, and I'm sure even if you're a Federer fan, you'd want to see Nadal really in good physical shape. He doesn't seem to be grimacing. Therefore, I think no great pain in the hand.
And he was saying that it was the serve that he found most difficult. Couldn't feel the racket in his hand properly.
Yes, it resulted in 7 double faults for Nadal. Caught a little bit by surprise by the forehand down the line of Federer, really whipped by the Swiss. I think he might do better at times, as we saw him early on. Initially serve this out wide and then play the big forehand, as Nadal is doing with his left-hander to the left court. Wrong foot or hit the ball down the line. It's got to be very wide to catch Nadal.
Nadal threads the needle once again, and Rafa has the first break points.
15-14.
Well, the quality of tennis here is quite sublime.
That is a surprise.
It is.
30-14.
It's not exactly a look of disgust, but can't believe that he's missed that opportunity.
But as they say, if you keep coming in, it's incredibly hard, even if you're Nadal, to keep passing. Still break point. But come on from Roger. Stefan Edberg alongside Roger's wife Mirka, who's expecting their third child later in the year. We have twin girls, of course, born in July 2009.
Advantage Federer.
Not amused by that miss either.
Two backhands have let Nadal down. Very makeable shots in this game. Oh, that's certainly a test of Federer's speed. I think he's just a little bit slower, but didn't exactly show there, because look at the distance he has to cover. And remember, Nadal's hitting this ball pretty quickly.
Advantage Federer.
Well, you were saying it has to be very wide to catch Nadal, and that one really was. First ace of the match.
Served 10 aces against Andy Murray.
Ooh.
Again, Federer, new balls, please.
Well, that's huge for Federer, holding from 2 break points down. And he will have noticed
Federer
those
leads 4 games to 3.
poor backhands from Nadal. Seven games gone then, which means it's time for a new set of tennis balls, these lighter balls. And have certainly speeded up things this year. Which, in my view, has produced a better spectacle.
I think so. Yes, I think particularly in the women's game, given every one of them just a little bit more power.
More encouragement to move forward and play from the net as well. Get that rich variety of play.
Federer against Murray had 18 forehand winners as opposed to 5 backhand winners. Well, as David pointed out, he would have seen those 3 backhands missed by Nadal in the last game. Really not very difficult ones either. But of course, it's not easy to get the ball to Nadal's backhand. He moves so well to get the forehand into play.
Pretty close, but no challenge.
40-15.
That's clever. Rafa thinking he had to cover his backhand side, vulnerable to the wrong footer.
40-30.
Yes, Nadal just giving that one a bit more air, couldn't quite flatten it and get enough power. Therefore, Federer gets there with time to spare, had the option of going either way. Fine bit of wrong footing. Now, does Federer run around the backhand here? 2 strokes.
Magnificent rally.
Nadal's going off for a break, but I think he's actually going to change his equipment. After this point, I wouldn't have thought he needed to.
Fall then. 31 minutes gone.
That's second serve. Fits in love.
Did not serve a double against Murray.
Fits in.
Two men who generally serve very few.
When Roger ends up playing from well behind the baseline, he is in trouble.
Yes, and I would say this tends to be a more difficult side to win points against Nadal because he can't swing the Spaniard as far wide. On the other hand,
Yes. This goes for a stock in trade one from the net court. His second ace, making up for the double fault. Again, those viciously bouncing balls from Nadal with the heavy topspin getting up so high. How many times has that happened to me against this confounded Spaniard? Break point again. He was pushing a couple of those forehands, but he really committed to that last one.
Deuce.
yes, Nadal couldn't get the width and he was driven even further back so that Federer's got that much more time to deliver with the big forehand.
Advantage Federer.
Pete Sampras is here.
Again, Federer.
Rafa's had the chances, but Federer hangs on. Rod lever.
Federer leads 5-4.
Is that Chris Evert next to him? Well, having failed to convert on those 3 breakpoint opportunities, Nadal now with a little bit of scoreboard pressure against him at 4-5.
And Federer surely feeling that he can take a few more risks here, which could be dangerous for the Spaniard.
Love. Love.
In their early meetings, that Federer seldom had to face as wide a serve to the backhand as that.
Well, if Federer can get Nadal to slice on the backhand, it's a good slice, but it's not the potent weapon that the double-hander is.
Oops. Leaning back as he played that, but that doesn't make much difference. Usually he can stand on his head and make the forehands.
Surely this is the time for Federer to attack a second serve.
See the competitiveness, not that one would expect anything else, but both of them trying to G each other up. Whew, that would be the most perfect if it's in.
And Federer concedes that it was in.
5 games on.
First ace from Nadal. 5-all.
Nadal is challenging the call on the right baseline. The ball was cut out.
Without a great deal of hope, I feel.
Incredibly, Federer has
Nadal has 2 challenges remaining.
75% of the points behind his second serve. Which is more than behind his first.
That's exceptional. I mean, it's generally where Nadal will be making the inroads. See the roof wide open. Had no chance here. And concedes virtually. Little gesture with the racket.
Well, he's heeding your advice. Serve it out wide and then come in behind the big forehand down the line.
Yes, exactly what Nadal does to the right-handers in the left court. Giving him a taste of his own Spanish medicine, left-handers medicine.
$40-15. Federer.
Third ace for Federer. And after having faced break points in his two previous service games, that one will be a considerable relief. Federer leads by 6 games to 5.
Well, again, Federer in that enviable position of being ahead and just having the knowledge that if things go wrong, he's in the tiebreaker with a really good shot at it. So the risks are there to be taken by Federer. It's just a matter of whether he can get the big forehand into play, which is not to say that there's been a lot wrong with his backhand. He's playing it, I think, more solidly. He's playing it a bit more powerfully. And it's really one of the reasons why this match is as close as it is, because I think if it had been the old Federer with the old backhand, as good a backhand as it was, as lovely a backhand as it was, it just used to feed Nadal too many forehands. And he's not doing that tonight, which makes it much more of an even contest.
Thank you. Seats, please.
Again, Nadal having to serve to stay in the set. Oh, what an anticlimax.
34 strokes. And didn't Federer match him well? You know, missed on the 34th. They don't count the missed. I don't know why.
15 love.
Boy, was that tennis. I remember when players played like this a couple of years ago, I bumped into Rod Laver and he said, what phenomenal tennis. But if only we could see a little volley or two. But of course, part of the problem is the immense respect that players have, and I can understand why for the other players' passing shots, their ground strokes. Even in that point, Nadal 25 years ago would have been into the net. Instead, he played a good backhand and then retreated.
14-15.
Found a way of getting into the backhand wing.
40-30.
Yes, a fine return. Had Nadal hurrying as quickly as he has throughout the match. Just hitting that ball right towards the end of the racket rather than nearer the middle.
Game, Nadal.
So it will be the tie-break to decide this opening set. Funnily enough, the last time they played a tie-break against each other was the semi-final of the Australian Open 2 years ago. I reckon it's the 19th tie-break they've played against each other.
It's the 21st, I think, and they're 10-10.
Oh, I had it 9-9.
Did you?
Yeah. We're agreed that they're equal.
They're equal.
Thank you.
Unlucky.
1-0, Nadal.
Nadal gets the angle, a terrific angle, but Federer's shot would have been a good one here.
It's a couple he's missed down the line. So the first 2 points of the breaker go against the serve.
Yes, and I think what it means when he misses those, he's just not staying with the ball quite long enough. He's looking to play the shot, but also partly to cover the next shot. Therefore, try to move a little bit towards the middle at the same time as he hits the backhand, Nadal.
So close. Rafa's dad behind Uncle Tony. Oh dear.
3-1.
Not a volley he should have missed.
No, he seemed a little bit cramped as he played it. A little bit too close to the body. This was fine, although of course he didn't get the penetration, but here just not at that prime distance from the body.
Federer's lost all 3 points in the breaker on his own serve.
Nadal.
And Nadal's in the driving seat now.
Yes, as well as Nadal's playing, the one shot that he's not hitting at his best, or at its best, is the backhand down the line. When he's got the opening there, Federer can inevitably get to it because he's not hitting it near enough the line. It tends to be angled in towards the middle of the court.
It's the old story, I'm afraid, for Federer.
5-1.
Getting involved in too many baseline rallies and ending up at the wrong side of them.
Yes, I suppose he'd say his problem is he went into the net, of course, and really should have won the point, but missed a volley. But it's not going to help him really to try and take Nadal on at that which is Nadal's forte, trading shots from the back of the court. Very few can do that. You've got to have the power of a, dare I say, Wawrinka, to be able to out-rally him at times from the back of the court, just with sheer power on both wings.
Wawrinka's attempted to outpower him 12 times and failed 12 times.
But not the Wawrinka of today. He had a similar unpleasant record against Djokovic.
Yeah, very fair point. Oof. Well, there's one of the mini breaks back. But Federer's just got to start winning points on his own serve. If he loses these two, of course, he's lost the set.
Well, he came up with an outstanding serve out wide to the Nadal forehand on a big point earlier in the set.
There's one tactic that has worked, the drop shots, because he's playing them from so far up the court, of course, that even the great Nadal, fast as he is, he gets to them, but he can't do much with them.
Yes, he's a long way back. Federer's nearer the net. Nadal's a long way back. He's got to cover a lot of distance. He just can't find the power really to hurt Federer.
He does win his 2 points on serve. It's tight again, but Nadal still has a mini break.
Well, does he stick to Old Faithful? One out wide to the Federer backhand. Missed the first serve, and of course Federer's very much in it.
Two set points. Again, the backhand gets away from Federer. Nadal takes the tiebreak. 7 points to 4. And the set 7-6 after 59 minutes. Roger Federer deep in contemplation. Rafael Nadal has left the court, presumably for a bathroom break. He started off in such positive mode for running around and hitting that huge forehand return of the Nadal second serve, but I can't help feeling he's fallen into the familiar pattern.
Yes, I think it's not quite the same familiar pattern as before, in that I think he's certainly playing more aggressively, but I agree with you that he could do a bit more running around of the Nadal second serve particularly. One of the problems, of course, is that Nadal's first serve percentage is generally quite high, 70% at the moment, but there's no doubt that Federer's hitting his backhand a lot more solidly, a lot more powerfully. No backhand, clean backhand winners perhaps, but he's not giving Nadal as much time as Nadal would normally have. Otherwise, I think Nadal would have won the set a lot more easily. It's definitely an improved Federer.
Thank you. Seats, please. Ready for play. Second set. Nadal to serve.
Second set, Nadal to serve. One thing I have to say, the stats come up showing Nadal winners 6, unforced errors 15. Federer 10 winners, 24 unforced errors. I don't think whoever was compiling these statistics has a clue what a forced error is, because that would suggest that was an awful set of tennis. It wasn't, to my mind. Second set, Nadal serving. Because that, for sure, is not an unforced error by Nadal. Federer's attacking him, he's got it deep.
Yeah.
Whereas that clearly is an unforced error. Anyway, it's all in the mind of the statistician.
Yeah, it's very subjective, isn't it?
But you can see, the longer the rallies go, the fewer Federer wins.
Unusual body serve from Nadal. We saw one or two from Federer very early in the match. Nadal's fastest serve against Dimitrov just climbed over the 200 kilometers.
Rod Laver, of course. Rockhampton Rocket.
Yes, I suppose he has allegiance to both these players as a left-hander, probably some support for Nadal, but I know loves the all-round game of Federer.
was thinking now this is more like it, much more aggressive, really thumping the forehand
40-30.
in the in-to-out shot that you've pointed out so many players use so well against Nadal, and then he misses that one.
Yes, I think Nadal just tries that much harder when he plays Federer. I think against many others, he wouldn't have got to that last forehand.
Nadal wants a look this time.
There doesn't seem to be a rule about timing between first and second serves.
Total surprise.
That was a bit of Rod Laver there.
I have a feeling Rafa's asked for the trainer for his blister.
He needs to see the trainer.
Yeah. The blister's back, so obviously the desire not to have that plaster around the palm and the almost above the knuckles and the back of the hand.
He knows, but it's coming.
Yes, it looks a little bit like a crater. And must be extremely painful, because he tends to hold the butt of his racket a lot more down near the bottom of the handle. It's almost as if the butt gets caught into that palm at times.
And I suppose the factor that may come into account here is if he does have to have this bandage all strapped up on the palm of the hand. There it is. Ooh, makes you queasy just looking at it, doesn't it? He's explained that with his bandaging, he struggles to hold the racket on the serve, and that may become a factor if he throws in those double faults that he did against Dimitrov, something we're simply not used to.
No, absolutely. It becomes a huge factor. I think it affected his forehand too, because he made something like 27 unforced errors in the forehand. Yes, he hit quite a lot of winners, but more unforced errors than winners on the forehand, and that is most unlike Nadal. And some of them were not only against Dimitrov, against Nishikori. Some of them tumbled into the bottom of the net, viciously spun, but almost as if he'd lost total control of the racket, which doesn't surprise me.
2 minutes remaining.
Obviously, there was no long assessment of the injury. We all knew what it was. And the trainers, the physios, do such a fantastic job. Roger plucking away at the balls, thinking, oh, if I made that drive volley, I'd have had my first break point of the match. But I was encouraged by the way Federer said about that game. Really aggressive, encouraged from his perspective.
Yes, I think really he must realize, and perhaps should have a long time ago. It's just that maybe Edberg's been on his case that much more than Annacone was before, just stressing that he's got to keep up that, even though the set might have gone against him. It was a very close thing. And with a little bit of luck here and a little bit of luck there, who knows?
One minute remaining. He's going to struggle to make the time here. I'm assuming he's going to. That plaster won't stay on if he doesn't have something around it. Now, what would. Well, he is going to play on. Well, that's very interesting. I don't think this plaster's going to last. So He is entitled to get more treatment. The next two changes of end within the 90 seconds. Federer then, after the delay for the treatment for blisters for Nadal.
Good enough.
Federer really fired up. There's a great deal of respect for each other between these two, but they're not exactly bosom pals.
You read the same article in the Australian that I did you?
Was there one there?
That's a fabulous angle. I really didn't like the article in the Australian because they were trying to build up that not only were they not bosom fans, but they actually didn't like each other.
Oh, really?
Which is absolute rubbish. Of course, they've had differences on and off the court. The politics of the sport, they've both been involved in that. Drew's absolutely right. In the modern era of tennis, the top guys aren't bosom buddies with each other. They have their own entourages.
Oops.
But a couple of winters ago, Rafa went to Switzerland for an exhibition to support Rogers' foundation, and then Roger went to Madrid to support Rafa's foundation. These guys do not dislike each other. Two late chords and one off the frame.
The crowd doesn't care.
One game on.
Change of equipment for Federer. Not as a result. Applause from Nadal.
Yeah, Federer doesn't like to serve with a new racket when it's new balls.
Most of the match.
Well, Federer seemed a little miffed, a little angry there. It may well be something to do with Nadal taking quite a long time on serve and the umpire doing nothing about it. Could be wrong.
Thirty.
It's a love game for Nadal. His third of the match. Federer's had just the one. And Nadal leads 2-1 on serve. Second set.
Live this watch.
New balls for Federer, who's had quite a lengthy conversation with Jake Garner at the change of ends, but we never quite picked up what the gist of it was. Like through, I suspect it's to do with the time between points, but can't be sure of that. Terrific pass.
There's Nadal having turned a full circle. I think he might lose his whereabouts, not Nadal. Just anchors that right foot and lets it go. Always a good feeling, of course, for him when the backhand scores. A better feeling even.
Here's trouble for Federer.
Love 30.
No breaks in the match so far, of course. And Nadal having 3 break points in the first set. Federer hasn't had one yet. Big sigh from Merker. She knows this is pretty critical.
It just shows the ultra competitiveness, because it wasn't a great shot by Federer that wins him the point. It's an unforced error really from Nadal, and yet Federer it is who exclaims. What a difference a meter makes. Just shifts over to the left, gets the forehand into play. Had it been a backhand, I dare say Nadal would have had another shot to play.
You were waiting to see who would try and change direction on the ball. It's Federer, but he fails, and it's break point Nadal.
Oh, 2 big points. He's gone 1 out wide to the forehand, this to the backhand, so difficult for Nadal to pick him next time. Keep Nadal guessing.
He's made that one down the line. It's another break point.
Well, he read it beautifully. Once he'd stretched Federer here, Federer playing that Roddick type of squash shot, and he gets into position so quickly, plays it up the court. And even though he doesn't hit it particularly accurately, he might like to have got nearer the line, he takes it early enough to be able to beat Federer.
Next person.
Well, doing to Federer what Federer was thinking of, well, what people have thought Federer should do to him, run round the backhand more and get the forehand into play on return of serve, but he didn't hit it deep enough.
Extraordinary angle found by Nadal there. His 6th break point of the match now, 3rd of the game.
Yeah, the beauty of this is the angle he gets, because Federer's played a shot that he surely couldn't have anticipated. It kept so low. Yet he's able to draw Federer in. Well, Federer's serve has always been pretty effortless. But we know the mental energy he's put into this.
Fourth ace for Federer. Just doesn't miss, does he, on the pass with that forehand?
Yes, I think they've done a good job on the hand. Certainly not inhibiting him, distracting him.
I'm amazed the plaster is staying on without that wrap around it. Incredible job by the physio. Absolutely key game.
Oh, it seemed to come out of nowhere. 200 serve. Nadal's forehand gets deep, and yet just magnificent timing by Federer. It's not often you see Nadal half a court away from the ball.
He is. The shake of the head suggests he's not overly confident. No, but it was good. And Federer holds. He's now saved 6 break points in the match. Ken Rosewall in the stands there. Mr. Muscles. Because he didn't have any, wasn't that why they called him Muscles?
That is it. Certainly had brain, if not a whole lot of brawn. Nadal's backhand cross-court is really working well.
Rosal, the oldest man to reach the Australian Open final in the Open era. 37. Oh, nice of him to illustrate the point with two of the very best.
Well, I said well, I didn't say brilliantly. This is quite outstanding. One of the shots of the match so far. Look how far he had to stretch.
Must be hard for Federer. He had to work so hard to win his last service game, and Nadal comes up with a second love game in a row to lead 3-2.
Thank you. Ready for play.
3-2 Nadal and a set to love. Federer serving, still no breaks in the match. Federer break points, none. Nadal 6, Sampras twice the champion. 94 and 97 in Australia. He's missed it. Straight away, pressure on Federer.
And of course, it was against Sampras at Wimbledon that Federer probably first made his big mark in the world of tennis.
Federer shown to the call on the left near sideline. Ball was called out.
Certainly wide.
Love 30. Federer has two
Can't
chances.
get out of this again. Love 30 down in his last service game. I thought I heard a let on
So
this.
did I. I thought that a few times. Just enough loft in the Nadal return for Federer to get over there. Still not an easy volley. Oh, stop it.
That's impossible. I mean, Federer read the pass down the line, came up with a volley that got behind Nadal.
Such an outstanding wrong-footing volley. How does Nadal get this? I can hear Perry Como singing. It's impossible. Well, I'm not surprised.
It's two more break points. Oh, and that one was on his racket, and he knows it. Federer trying to wrong foot him again. You know, I once saw Perry Como at the Colston Hole in Bristol. It's a long time ago.
Lucky
Your
man.
hometown? Surprised you weren't there. Should say your adopted hometown, your wife's hometown. Yeah, it's the trusty forehand from Nadal that finally gets him the breakthrough.
Nadal leads 4-2.
And the odds on Federer winning this match have lengthened dramatically.
Well, you could see the steel in both players, except that Nadal at this stage, once he brings the big forehand into play, 19th shot of the point, and it was always bound to be a winner. Unforced errors from Federer early in the game, very costly.
Trying to run round, but really got no purchase on the forehand. And anything short of a length to this man's forehand is history.
Magnificent slider.
30.
Getting around that ball so much more consistently, so accurately. Federer knows most of them are going to get there to that side. I wondered whether he might try that. He hasn't played that serve in this match. He quite often uses that Ivanisevic type second serve to kick to the forehand. In fact, every now and again will do it with the first serve. But surely he's got to stick to what is a winning game.
His first double fault. First serve percentage has gone down noticeably in this set. You begin to think about that blister.
40-15.
56% of first serves in this set, 70 in the first.
Yet he's only lost 3 points on serve in the set.
Nadal backs up the break. It's a set and 5-2 to the world number one, who, if he wins this title on Sunday, becomes only the third man in history to have won every major at least twice. Well, he wouldn't be human if he wasn't thinking, not again. Again, you look at the longer rallies, it's pretty even in the short ones and the medium ones, but you get into the long rallies, 9 or more shots. It's overwhelmingly in favour of Nadal. Federer, having lost the last 3 games, finds himself a set and 2-5 behind. Does this mean he's slightly more relaxed here, Federer? Certainly letting rip with that one. Could be a case of saving energy here for the big game for Nadal. Does he ever save energy there? Does he need to? But it is a love game for Federer. Finished off with his fifth ace.
Nadal leads 5 games to 3.
Only his second love service game of the match. But Nadal then to serve for a 2-sets-to-love lead.
And Federer desperately needs the first point here on the Nadal serve. Habit that Nadal used to have, losing the opening stanza.
Love the team.
Crowd, many of them at least, desperate for Federer to get back into this match.
Yeah, he was trying to use that one where he really wasn't quite in position to do so, Nadal. Good deep return from Federer. Quite close to his body.
He had Nadal love 30 in the fourth game of the match. There was a chance down the line.
Well, terrific concentration by the players. There was so much oohing and ahhing during the course of this point. I half expected one player at least to ask the umpire, to ask the crowd to keep silent. But their concentration is absolutely top class.
That's ridiculous.
Federer unleashes one of his hardest backhands of the match. And Nadal says, anything you can hit hard, I can hit harder.
30 over.
What tension there was during the course of that. Not for the players, I think for everybody else. Boy. Federer couldn't get the angle on the forehand, should have hit that down the line, could only center it in the court.
Yeah, he had a couple of shorter balls to attack and didn't connect, and that's perhaps the difference, as you give Nadal a mid-court ball and he is merciless.
Second set.
Nadal has a vice-like grip on the match as he comes from love 30 down to take a 2 sets to love lead after just over an hour and 3/4.
Third set.
Nadal 2 sets to love up.
Federer to serve.
Hard to believe there's a way back for Federer from here, but he has to believe it.
Yes, he's done it 8 times in his career. But of course, the older you get, the more difficult it becomes, and particularly when you're up against somebody like Nadal.
15 love.
He did it in their very second match in the final of Miami in 2005. It's a long time ago. So, a love service game for Federer.
First game, third set.
His third of the match, which may just send out a little message to Rafa. Not that I think he needs any messages.
No, not the way he's concentrating, moving, responding. That's Federer's best run on serve, 8 successive points on serve. That's the best run he's had in the match. That's how difficult it is against Nadal. Nadal, on the other hand, had a run of 10 successive points on serve, and he hasn't got as big a serve as Federer.
Love.
Could be an answer.
15 all.
Nadal's backhand cross-court working far better than his backhand down the line. Federer perhaps expecting it if he can respond more regularly with the forehand down the line.
Thought about swatting it away in frustration. thought better of it, but those are the half chances Federer's just got to take. He's missed a few volleys tonight that he wouldn't have wanted to, and wouldn't have expected to.
Please.
Third ace.
40-15. Nadal.
Another Nadal service game passes fairly uneventfully. Still hasn't faced a break point.
Yes, and perhaps one of the reasons why he just keeps ahead of Federer is that he's more balanced in terms of the ability to hit winners from the forehand and the backhand which is looking much improved. Federer hitting the backhand a lot better, but still no great winner with it yet. So Nadal can virtually run down so many of Federer's backhands.
Yeah. Nadal actually with more backhand winners than forehands.
Really?
9-7.
Oh. Yes, against Dimitrov, who's 23 forehand winners, 7 backhand winners, and generally it would be far more forehand winners than backhands.
Once again, the Federer serve under threat.
Yes, almost a couple of careless points, the first and the third in this game by Federer.
Two more break points for Nadal.
This could be a serve volley out wide on the backhand.
Again, that's a volley he had to make. Nadal breaks early in the third set. And frankly, I'd be astonished if Federer came back to win this match now. He frankly looks a beaten man. New balls as Nadal tries to consolidate the break in the third set. Ooh.
That's the sort of shot he played at times against Nishikori. And I believed it was because of the bandaging on the hand. Believe it or not, he's only been taken to deuce once in the match, Nadal. That was his second service game. Brilliant second serve. Do you think this was a man who really before last year barely hit that serve? When he did, he couldn't get that sort of width. We all put it down to the fact that he was a right-hander playing left-handed.
As on Australian television, there's a commercial at the moment which shows Rod Laver playing golf right-handed.
Yes, he does.
Can Federer finally reach a break point?
It's missed it.
He can, and he has two of them.
15-14.
It's taken him 2 hours and a minute to get his first break points.
Thank you. Federer is answering the call on the left baseline. The ball was cut out.
Well, the umpire was certainly quick to call the score, backing up the baseline's woman.
30-40. Federer has 2 chances remaining.
He has a break. Well, 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 well. Gentle applause from Stefan Hedberg. I wonder what Sampras is feeling. Laver has a smile next to Philip Brook, the chairman of the All England Club at Wimbledon.
Possibly the most important point, I think, was a little lucky for Federer. The one return that he kept very low in mid-court. Nadal had problems with the forehand playing it.
Now, can he get an adrenaline rush from having broken and really get back into the match? At the moment, you just tend to think, well, it's a temporary hiccup for Rafa. can't afford to miss shots like that. And there's another one, I'm afraid.
He can't perfect that into-out forehand. He gets caught between letting it slide off the racket face and trying to hit a rolled forehand, which is one that he traditionally has used.
2 break points then to restore his advantage for Nadal. Rafa's challenging here.
Yes, Federer obviously pretty sure it was in.
He was wrong.
He was wrong.
Second.
Oh, bottom of the net from Nadal.
No doubt surprised to see Federer serving and volleying behind a second serve on break point. That must be the equivalent of when you're down to your final shekel, putting it all on red 6 in the roulette wheel.
Well, if he comes out of this in fine style, follows this up, he will get a real boost of these last couple of games.
And he has. Federer first of all breaks back, then holds from 15-40 to hit the front in this third set, 3-2.
Federer leads 3 games to 2.
Well, is this a major sea change in the match? Could Federer possibly do it from 2-0 and a breakdown?
Well, it's been one of those tournaments, hasn't it? Too many surprises.
Two, 3 then. Nadal serving, having been 2-1.
$15. $30. $40.
Strange, because in this game there just doesn't seem to have been any intensity from Federer, and you would have thought that having won the last 2 games against the odds, as it were.
Yes, he was attempting it with a forehand down the line, but it fell very short, really, to was neither here nor there, the shot.
Again, Nadal.
So Nadal steadies the ship with the...
3 games on.
He had another love service game, I think his 5th.
More first serves in that game for Nadal. Missed too many at the start of the game in which he lost serve.
His first serve percentage in this set way back up there again, 73. Ace number 7.
You give him an inch, he takes a foot.
59.
That one was so much more sweetly struck.
30-15.
Not looking to roll it. You can see it winging its way away from Nadal. But regularity is a problem.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a courtesy to both players, please do not call out as the point is getting ready to start. Thank you.
I still think that those figures are exaggerated. No.
30-40.
But that most definitely is an unforced error, and here we go again. Once more, break point, Nadal. Well, they're self-inflicted wounds, I'm afraid. Nadal breaks again, and well, surely he's not going to allow Federer to come back into this set now. For a second time then, Rafael Nadal leads by 2 sets to love and a break. Or 3.
Nadal ran back to the back of the court, ball in hand. Yes, it still took him a while to serve, but he was jogging back, whereas Federer, that usual slow, deliberate walk of his, seemingly very thoughtful, very pensive. What can he cook up here?
It's hard to be critical of him when he hits a shot like that, but I just feel he should have been attempting more of them.
It's probably his hardest forehand. We don't have the measure with us here, but probably the hardest forehand he's hit. Well, it may be repetitive, but it's a pretty stunning play, isn't it, by Nadal? Out wide to the backhand, short return, bang with the forehand. Not as fast as Federer's, but even more controlled.
Only a second backhand winner of the match from Federer.
Yes, you can see where Nadal's problem is here. He runs around the backhand, plays the forehand, but Federer's almost waiting for it. So it leaves a lot of open court.
Just hasn't been the consistency required from Federer tonight.
Thank you.
Oh. I don't understand why he played the drive volley there.
Looked a little reckless, didn't it? Perhaps just a little lost for the perfection that he once had. Not quite knowing what to do, feeling that he's really got to ram the ball down Nadal's throat. There is a straightforward volley, might well have done the trick.
He's
And that's the difference, isn't it? Nadal time and time again finds the target.
Yes, he made his move just at the right time. Almost seemed premature, but certainly Federer didn't see him. Otherwise, he'd have served the second to the forehand.
Ace number 8 for Federer. About the only stat that is in his favour.
Federer's challenging. Going to be tight, this one.
But he's not challenging on this one, and I think that was out too.
So do I. Umpire slow to give the score, waiting for a challenge.
Nothing on that approach. He was a sitting duck.
Deuce.
Well, it landed right about the service line. Nadal had all the time in the world, all the options available to him.
And he seldom misses.
Two hours and 22 minutes they've been out there. A very tight first set, but then from then on, it really has been pretty much one-way traffic. It's not often you sense that in his own mind, midway through a third set, Federer is beaten. But I've certainly sensed that tonight. He has done remarkably well in saving 10 break points in the match, but the fact there have been all those chances for Nadal is a further sign of the overwhelming superiority of the Spaniard.
Oh.
Yeah, he just knew he was going to make it.
Not a bad volley at all. Was sliding away. Uncle Tony's up. Boy, did he motor there, Nadal.
The game ends appropriately on an error from Federer. His head is down. Nadal's outplayed him once more. 7-6, 6-3, 6-3 in 2 hours and 24 minutes. All the talk, all the hope of many that Federer could somehow, fully fit as he felt now, recapture his glory years have been dashed. Nadal's put him firmly in his place. And having beaten the Swiss number 2, all he's got to do now is beat the Swiss number 1, Wawrinka.
Well, it was a magnificent performance by Nadal, even though the first set went to a tiebreaker, and obviously at a stage like that with their tiebreak records at 10 apiece, it was still a set that Nadal deserved to win, and certainly once he got the tiebreaker, it wasn't quite the same Federer, who looked to play aggressive. The conditions here suited the Swiss, and one can't really see the Swiss number 2 doing a whole lot better, even though he's got more power from both wings. It's going to take the Swiss army, I'm afraid.
Yeah, pretty comprehensive win for Rafael Nadal, and he takes that overwhelming record of 12-0 against Wawrinka.
Thanks to David and to Prue. Here's the finalist then, with Jim Courier.
You and Roger have now played each other 33 times. You know each other so well. What was the key for you in this match tonight?
Well, first of all, play with Roger always is a very special feeling. No, he's probably the opponent that when I go court I have very, very emotional feelings. Ever we played a lot of times for important things in our career, and today was another important match. He's a really great champion, and for me it's a really honor being in the same era like him.
And the first set was so tight. How'd you get over the line in that first set and then take control of the match?
Well, in the first set was tough. It's true that I had a few break points before that tiebreak. It's true that he has a love 32 before the tiebreak, and I think at the end we played a really tough rallies at the end of the first set that I think I resisted really well because he was trying to play very aggressive, hitting the ball great, taking the ball very early, so it was a difficult thing, and I tried to resist, insisting a little bit more against his back and then trying to change to down the line. And I think tonight I played my best match of the tournament, so very happy for that.
How about the hand? In the match before with Dimitrov, you had a different bandage on your hand. Today it's a little bit less. How is that feeling on the court today versus the other matches?
Well, too much talk about the blister. The blister is okay. No? The problem, as I said the other day, is the position of the blister. No? That is difficult to cover. To do normal life, the blister is 100% perfect to play tennis at best of 5 against these best players of the world. Always is a big challenge and is another thing. No? But we try to make the bandage a little bit less, shorter than the other day, and work it really well. And so very, very happy now. And just can say thank you very much, everybody. You know, after missing. After missing last year, for me, it's really, really emotional to be back on this court, Rod Laver Arena, and be able to play another final. So very, very happy, and thank you very much, everybody, for the support. It was just very amazing for me.
As we look ahead now, you're into the final again, and you're going, if you win, you would win your 14th major title. That ties you with Pete Sampras if you do that. I don't know if you know, Pete was here watching the match tonight. It's the first time he's seen you and Roger play live against each other. What would it mean to you to be on the same level with Pete Sampras as far as majors won?
Well, first of all, remain a very tough opponent in front. Wawrinka is playing just amazing, winning a fantastic match against Novak yesterday against Berdych. So he should come to this final with a big confidence now. And I never thought about having 13 Grand Slams already, so I never thought about having 14. But the only thing that I can swear is I'm gonna try my best.
We're sure of that, and we'll look forward to that. So you're playing against Stan. He's playing with incredible confidence, the best confidence of his life for sure. What do you think you need to do well in that match?
I need to keep playing great. No, you know, at the end, I know will be a very, very tough opponent. His serve is huge. He's serving great, and he's hitting the ball very hard. No, and I need to try to play aggressive, trying to let him play not easy positions. That's always very difficult because he's a very strong guy, and I'm gonna try to play aggressive and play a little bit the same way that I played tonight.
Last question: Is your girlfriend gonna make the trip in, watch the final?
No, it's too far.
It's too far. Well, she'll get a chance to watch you like we will. Another great match tonight. The great Rafael Nadal is into another final here.
So impressive, Nadal, both in his performance, his behavior, and the way that he just wanted to block any thoughts about the blister. Who knows if he was doing that throughout the match. He's through to his 3rd Australian Open final. Winner in 09, finalist in 2012, where he lost to Djokovic in the longest men's Grand Slam final on record, 5 hours and 53 minutes, and he'll play Wawrinka on Sunday. And his record against Wawrinka, not bad. They played 12 times, and Rafa has won every single time. And it was a superb performance. Tomorrow, 9:30 Central European Time, Dominika Cibulkova in her 1st Grand Slam final. What a day, what a night it'll be for her. She takes on Lina. Hope you can join us for that one. Our congratulations to Rafa Nadal from Melbourne. Goodbye.